Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Christina and I love the baby whisperer Tracy Hogg, especially her book, The Baby Whisperer Solves All Your Problems. We've been going through that book and we've finished, and now I am just making short little videos and tidbits about topics that relate to the baby whisperer and relate to things to what she says, and basically just how I live out her book and do the things that she suggests in it. So our topic today is actually going to be productivity as stay-at-home moms. I'm a stay-at-home mom and I know there's a lot more out there, and stay-at-home dads too, of course. This can apply to really just any stay-at-home parent. Essentially, when you follow the baby whisperer plan, you end up with a lot of free time, and in theory, on paper, that should make being a stay-at-home parent very easy, since you have free time to complete tasks and do things and whatnot. But we know in practice from being stay-at-home parents that the opposite can happen, and we can actually feel like we're not getting things done that we wanted to get done. We are in our home all day, we look around and we become unhappy with the things that we see. We might get easily frustrated when there's just an eternal mess somewhere that it just doesn't feel like we can make any progress on cleaning it or any progress on the big tasks that we want to do around the house either. So I've put together 10 tips for how I am a productive stay-at-home mom, and hopefully those tips can help you be a productive stay-at-home parent as well. I would not say that this list is all-inclusive, and of course it's just from my experience personally as a stay-at-home mom now for over a year, of how I've shifted essentially from being a worker and having a 9-to-5 to just being in my home all day taking care of my daughter. And that's such a huge change. These are just 10 tips that I think are helpful for me. They're kind of just rules I've set in my head for myself, and hopefully they can provide some insight into some things that you might be frustrated with if you are a stay-at-home parent as well. Tip number 1 is to get your children on a routine. And if you've been following the baby whisperer for a while, you probably already have your child or children on a routine. And if you don't, then I have lots of videos about how you can do that. I'll try to link them right here and how you can get started in that. But you want to make sure that you have them on an age-appropriate routine that gives them enough naps during the day, and also give them set meal times, at least 3 meals a day if they are eating solids. In addition to that as well, what you just find from being a stay-at-home parent is you kind of get into this rhythm, this daily rhythm of chores and activity and errands. And so the baby whisperer obviously doesn't lay out like this is when you should go to the store, but you kind of have a good idea now, hopefully, of when you should go to the store, when you should run errands with your children or without them, when you should go to the park or the library, when you do certain activities during the day and when you don't, things like that. So it helps a lot actually if you write out your routine, if you don't really feel like you have one, or if you feel like you have one but it's kind of messy and jumbled and it changes a lot. Just write out what a typical day looks like. You can attach it to times, you don't have to attach it to times, but that is just helpful visually for kind of helping yourself feel more organized. And I personally think that when I am organized, I am a more productive parent and a more productive worker in my home, because I have clear set goals, I have clear set activities, clear set whatever, and that helps me achieve them more is by writing them out. So if there's something that you've been wanting to do more during the day and you just can't find time for it, you should write out basically what you do in a day and see where your time is going, and that can help you out with creating that routine as well. Then we get to my tip number 2, which is to set boundaries with yourself on your free time or with your free time. So because we follow the baby whisperer routine or whatever routine you're doing, you're going to have nap times during the day where you're by yourself possibly, and even if your child is not napping anymore during the day, you still might even have a few hours in the evening or in the morning before they get up, depending on how early you like to get up to do things and just to be alone by yourself. So it's important that when we do have that alone time, that we have boundaries with ourselves on what we are allowing and not allowing ourselves to do in that time. So personally for me, when I have free time, I only do things that I enjoy doing. I only do things that I want to do. So I don't do chores or menial tasks unless they are things that I really can't do with my daughter around at all. I also have to set boundaries for myself with my technology use. So I do not allow myself or my daughter to watch TV at all during the day. I will watch TV in the evening before I go to bed if I have some extra time there and I just want to be brain dead for a little bit. But I personally know that if I'm watching TV during the day, during my daughter's naps, that it kind of creates this sense of like idleness in me and it steals my productivity. So even if I'm watching TV at like 2 p.m. and I'm done by 3 and I go wake up my daughter, I'm just in this lazy mindset and I don't want to do any chores. I don't want to get anything else done for the rest of the day. I just want to zoom through my daughter's wake window and get to the next time that she is down so that I can just veg out basically. So that's just something I've learned about myself. So what you should do is try to identify things that you do in your free time that are taking your productivity away and create healthy boundaries with those. So you don't have to, just cut out TV or cell phone use, but limit it and limit it to where it's healthy. You could do it at the end of the day when you're clocked out, rather than in the middle of the day when you're just basically taking a break. Tip number 3 is to create a chore chart for yourself. I have a chore chart that is mounted on my fridge downstairs and I go through it every single day. I have daily chores, so chores that I do all 7 days a week, and then I have day specific chores, so chores I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I don't do any chores that are day specific on Saturdays or Sundays. And then I also have end of month chores, so they're kind of bigger chores that I want to get done at least once a month by the end of that month. And I literally use this chart all the time. If that's not something that's helpful for you, then obviously, you don't have to do it. But for me, it actually makes me see my productivity. I can look and reflect on my day and say, what did I do today? And then I say, oh, I cleaned the bathrooms. Good for me. And so you can really put whatever you want on your chore chart. It's however you manage your home, whatever chores you feel like need to get done, but just make it manageable and attainable. So don't try to deep clean the entire house every single week. I literally just do little maintenance things here and there throughout the week that keep me feeling like my home is clean. And then for my big monthly things, those are more deep cleaning chores that I put off usually every single week, and then I just have to do them at the end of the month. You can even have an every 6 months chore or an every year chore, like cleaning out the garage or something like that. That is just a giant thing that you really don't have to do that often. Make them chores that you will do, that that you'll complete, so you don't have this burden that you just stare at every single day and dread doing. But make them things that you enjoy doing, that you enjoy checking off. Obviously you're not going to enjoy everything. I hate laundry no matter what, but I do laundry because I need to. And it just makes me feel so much better when I'm done with it, that I can check it off my list, even if it's just this little thing. Like I said earlier, I find it better to never do chores while my daughter is sleeping. I only do chores while she is awake. So I do not use my free time for chores. I use my free time for pleasurable activities. But I try to do my chores with my daughter, and that's something that I personally really enjoy doing and that I can teach her to do. She always helps me wipe down all the surfaces and the counters and things like that. She isn't very helpful with laundry or anything else yet, but I'm hoping that just by doing these things regularly with her, that they become something that she gets used to seeing me do and that she can help me do, and then it just makes the chores so much easier. And then when she gets her own chores, it's not going to be a battle. It's going to be well, I always do this, and so you can do this with me. Tip number 4 is to create a meal plan. Also on my fridge downstairs, I have a calendar of the entire month where I have my meal plan for every single day. Essentially, I try to do the whole month at once, but sometimes I just hit rough patches where I like have no inspiration to write down meals, so I just do it week by week. So you can do it however you prefer it, monthly or weekly, but honestly, I just write down dinners that I'm planning for the month. I mostly for lunch do leftovers or just small things, but when I plan my dinners, I plan to cook a little more than what we're gonna actually eat so that I know I'll have leftovers. But there's some meals where like I know I'm not gonna have them, so I have to come up with something else. And then my breakfasts, I usually just do 2 or 3 breakfasts that I rotate depending on my mood that day. So I don't always write down all the breakfasts and lunches that I plan, but I do always write down the dinners, and that helps me with cooking. That helps me set aside the time to cook. It also helps me with grocery shopping and makes that less of a burden as well. But creating a meal plan also helps me with my budget, so I don't go over when I'm grocery shopping. I don't just grab a bunch of snacks and throw them in my cart, but I actually look and see, do I need this? Is this in my meal plan? And then I buy stuff. I love to cook, so personally I think it's fun to make a meal plan. I think it's fun to try out new meals, but I do hit patches of discouragement and often that makes it really difficult for me to do it, but I just gotta push through. I really recommend meal planning because it's just so good with your health, it's good with your budget like I said, and it makes things more enjoyable. So you know at the beginning of that day what you're going to be making in the evening. It's not just a toss-up or a quick thing that you're throwing together, but you can actually plan ahead. I try to cook with my daughter. Again, she's at an age where she can't quite help. There are things like I have her help me stir or put spices in bowls and whatnot, but that's really the extent of what she can help me do right now. So sometimes it can be difficult when I am cooking dinner by myself to entertain her, so I also try to set aside kitchen activities for her to do while I'm cooking if I know that's going to be a particularly hard meal for her to like wait through. I think she is really interested in watching me cook, so she has a difficult time doing independent play. I don't know if this is something that a lot of other parents experience as well. It's not even that she like wants me to like hold her or anything like that. She really just like wants to be in there in the action but like can't do anything. And so I actually do activities that she has like a little stool so she can stand up and be at the counter, and she does activities on the counter. I'm kind of getting off sidetracked with that. But if you have a meal plan, then you know when you're going to maybe have a more difficult time with your child or not. Number 5 is pick up a hobby. And this is something that is taking me way too long to do. But I hate spending time on my phone. I hate scrolling. I hate getting, an hour into YouTube videos or an hour down Facebook and being like, what the heck am I doing? Like, where did the last hour of my life go? So I decided, in order to stop doing that, to pick up crocheting. So I've been crocheting gifts. Actually, I'm getting super ahead of my Christmas gifts. It's July right now, but I'm trying to crochet gifts for all my family members this year, and I'm just spending my free time doing that. And that's helpful for me to have like a goal, like I'm doing this for a bigger purpose as well. But I just recommend that you pick up a hobby. It can be anything. It could be coloring, it could be baking, it could be music, or another handicraft like embroidery or knitting or sewing or things like that. Just something that you enjoy doing, that's not a burden, and that when you do have free time and you really don't know what to do with it, that you can still be productive in a sense and not just sit there. I think personally, when we sit on our phones and we scroll or we sit and watch videos or TV shows or whatever it is, that we really develop a sense of idleness, and that's the opposite of productivity, and that seeps into the rest of our day. Like, even if we did complete our chores for the day, we still might feel like we didn't do anything because we spent like 5 hours on our phones. But if you spend your time doing chores and then at the end of the day you finish like a scarf you've been making, it just feels so much better. Like it's not even like a false sense of productivity, because you're actually completing something and you're spending your time working on something that you love and enjoy. And I literally just started crocheting like 3 months ago. So this is not something I've like learned in my childhood or anything like that I'm like really good at. I'm not that good at it at all. So really, you can pick up anything. I never even thought about crochet before. I just got like a kit for Christmas this last year, and I didn't even know if I'd ever do it, and I'm like doing it every single day now. It's really great. Tip number 6 is to always get dressed every single day, even if you are not going anywhere or doing anything. And I think we all know this. If we just sit around in our pajamas and our slippers all day, we're not going to be productive. We're going to feel like sitting around or laying down and being lazy. And when we get dressed and we put on clothes that might be a little more uncomfortable to wear, but that, you know, you can go outside wearing, then we're actually going to get a lot more done. We're just going to change our mindset in that way. And number 7 is to go outside at least once a day. I try to run at least one errand a day and just go somewhere, but I can't just run an errand every single day. So sometimes I'm just stuck with the only thing I can do is to walk to the park, or even just to step outside on our back deck for like 30 minutes with my daughter. I think it's just so good for us to get out of the house, even if we don't feel like we have a reason to. All of our work and our relaxation happens in this home, in your home, and it's just good to get out for a while. What's nice about a 9 to 5, especially if you're going to a physical place, is you have commute time, and that helps you separate your work from your play, from your leisure time essentially, and you're actually in 2 physically different places, and so your brain is better able to leave work at work and home at home. But when our work is in our home and our home is in our work, we just get all tangled up sometimes. So if you feel like you just need a break, or you need to transition between being, you know, home all day and then having your leisure time, then you could just go to the park or something like that right before you put your child down for bed or child down for a nap, just so that you can transfer in your mind space that time from work to play. And it's just so good for us. I think I read somewhere that kids actually get sick from being inside too much. So especially if, you know, you find that your kids are just always sick all the time, maybe you need to go outside more. I don't know. The fresh air is good, the sunlight is good. It's also good for us. Right now it's summer in Texas, and so going outside is really difficult. But I try to do it in the mornings or really late in the evenings, and it really does make a big difference for sure. Tip number 8 is to exercise, and this really can just be anything. I just started exercising by taking a walk to the park with my daughter and pushing her in the stroller, and then I slowly went on longer and longer walks, and then I got an elliptical that I put in my garage, and so now I use that. But also sometimes I do like workouts in my living room on my phone, stuff like that, just something that keeps my blood pumping. So I do spend some of my free time during one of my daughter's naps working out. I try to do that every single day, Monday through Friday, and that isn't, I mean, it's obviously it's good for you physically, it's great for us to work out, but it also really keeps me it keeps my energy levels higher throughout the day. I try to do it during her first nap, so I am able to like shower and get dressed and transition into the rest of the day after that. Also time for us to think about ourselves and on our own health and on our bodies. If we have any health goals or weight goals or anything like that that we want to work on, we should give ourselves time during the day to do that. And that's why I started with walks actually to the park with my daughter, is because I didn't want to give up any of my free time to exercise. So I was like, how can I exercise with my daughter? I'll go on a really long walk with her. And so that's a really easy thing to do. I don't do it anymore because of the weather, but I might go back to it as soon as it gets cooler outside. But you don't even have to give up your free time if you can figure out a way you can exercise with your child. Tip number 9 is kind of complicated. It's to give every room like a reset mode. So especially if we have a room in our house, like our living room or a loft or our kitchen or something, that just always feels like it's really messy. You should have an idea of what it's supposed to look like when it's clean and organized, and we should make it our goal to get it to that point every single day. So for me, it's not every room in my house. It's the living room is what turns into a mess every single day, because my daughter's in there and she has toys and she leaves them, and she loves pillows, so she pulls all the pillows off our couch and she lays on them, and it's really cute, but we have to put them back afterwards. And so she is starting to be able to help me with cleaning up her messes a bit, but sometimes we run out of time and I just want to put her down and then just deal with it myself. But I do have it on my chore chart that I reset my living room every single evening. So when I put her to bed and I go back downstairs, my living room is totally clean. It's totally the way I want it, and I can just sit down and do nothing. I also do dishes and try to get my kitchen all clean before she goes down. If my husband's not home, sometimes I have to wait until after he's down in order to do that, because it's just a lot to do, and my daughter really is interested in the dishwasher right now, so I try not to open it around her so much. But yeah, just identify the rooms, because I feel like it's usually a certain room or space in our home that makes us really stressed out. It's not necessarily the whole home in itself, but it's like this room is always dirty and I can't get it clean or organized, and there's messes everywhere. Try to define each like messy space and figure out exactly the way you want it to be, and then just get it into that way every single day. So that involves me actually figuring out a way to organize my daughter's toys downstairs. I have some shelves for her, and so that her toys go back on the shelves. I do toy rotation like the Montessori way, so I don't have many toys out. I limit her toys. I also sometimes have to buy like bins and boxes of stuff to put things in. Like my husband loves wires, like he loves electronic stuff, but he has so many wires, and we have a lot of wires we keep downstairs because of our TV and gaming stuff. And so I've had to buy ways to organize those wires, because I just hated looking at them every single day, because that's what I do all day. I sit at home and I just stare at his wires in the corner, and that's really difficult for me. But not anymore, because I bought a way to organize them. So you might have to buy a couple things in order to get your room the way you really want it to look. But once you do that and you define it and you're happy with it, then that's it. And you just have to make sure it doesn't get away from you too much during the day. And there are some days where I actually reset my living room 2 or 3 times a day, just because I just mentally can't do it. I can't just wait till the end of the day sometimes, and that's totally fine. But I do have rooms in my house where I don't care if there's a mess. Like I have a little play room upstairs as well, and my daughter will just leave toys all around the floor there, but I don't spend time in there except for when we're playing. So I personally am not bothered when it's messy, but I do have a way that I reset that room every single week. On my chore chart, I vacuum that room, and so I vacuum it every Friday. So every single Friday, I put all the toys away, and I have my daughter help me with that, and then I vacuum it and it's all clean, and it's great because it's right before the weekend and we don't spend too much time in there on the weekends. But that's just, you know, I just know I'm going to get to it later in the week. So if it's messy today on a Wednesday, I don't really care. I might clean it up if I feel like it, but I know I can just wait till Friday and that I will do it then. And lastly, we have tip number 10, and that is to accomplish your weekly or your monthly tasks slowly. So I have a little calendar that just goes throughout the week. It's like a to-do calendar, and I write down every single day 1 to 3 things that I can do that day. And it might be going to the grocery store or running another errand. It could be cleaning something that I've been putting off for way too long that I don't clean very often. It could be looking into buying a new microwave and doing the research on that. It's just little tasks that will add up to me getting bigger things done. So if I know I need to buy a microwave this month, which you can guess I do need to buy a microwave soon, then I can take little steps every day to be like, let me research the microwave, then I'll go to the store, and then I'll buy it. Like I'm breaking it down kind of into different tasks, but I'm trying to get myself to that ultimate end goal. Instead of just writing down, I need to buy a microwave, then I won't get to it because I have the stress of like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm gonna buy. I don't know where I'm gonna go to buy it. And so by doing that step by step and just giving myself a little bit to do every single day, I'm able to actually accomplish that goal by the end of the month when I want to do it. And additionally, I try not to give myself too much every day. So I would only go and do 1, maybe 2 errands in a day, and then 1 or 2 home tasks a day as well. And that would be considered a busy day for myself. And I try to give myself one day where I don't really have anything to do, though I do prefer to have stuff to do, honestly. But the goal is to do it slowly and not to pile on everything all at once. If you have a to-do list that you planned over the weekend with your husband and you get to Monday, don't try to complete it all that day. Just break it up into the week so that by that next weekend you can actually have things checked off of the list and feel good about it. And another thing that's helped me as well is I share a calendar with my husband, so I can actually plan time and stuff for us. So I plan time that we can hang out together, and I plan time for him to watch our daughter as well on the weekends. If I want to cook a big meal or something, then I say, you have to take her to the park while I'm cooking this meal, or you have to go do this, and spend time with her that way. Or if he says, hey, I really need to go to the store and buy some shoes this Saturday, you can come, but can you just find time for that? Then it's great. I can just plug it right in, and then we go and we do it. We say, oh, I made time for us to do this thing that you've been wanting to do. So it's really just about finding a time to do the things you want to do. That's really it. Do it slowly. Don't pile it all on yourself, and see what you can actually handle, especially if you are just gonna start on some of these tips. If you're gonna make a chore chart and a meal plan for yourself, do it slowly. Don't go and dive in all at once because you might burn out really fast. Just figure out what you can handle and what you enjoy handling. If you make a meal plan and you're like, this sucks, I hate this, and you're more of like a on the fly kind of person, then just do that, you know. You don't have to have your life look a certain way. I personally just love to have the structure of productivity that makes me feel so accomplished at the end of the day and at the end of the week, and that helps me relax better in my free time and on my weekends. I don't have to be concerned about vacuuming or cleaning or doing things and running errands. I hate going to the grocery stores on the weekends. I haven't done it in like over a year. I do not go to the grocery store on the weekend and it's amazing. That's all I have to say. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I know it's not our typical baby whisperer video, but really when we do the plan that Tracy Hogg has laid out, we have so much time to ourselves, and it's amazing. And I love that time to myself. It is a struggle sometimes. It's hard to balance work and play and leisure and free time and all of that stuff. So hopefully this was helpful for you in figuring out how you can balance your leisure time as well. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment anything below if you have tips of your own that have helped you be a stay-at-home parent, and subscribe so you can stay updated and see when more videos come out. And if you do have any suggestions or ideas for new videos, if they have to do with being a stay-at-home parent or being a baby whisperer parent, then I would love to hear your ideas, and I might do them soon as well. Thanks for watching.